Hey YouTube, it's your boy. You already know who it is. It's Danny. Like, comment, and subscribe. Get at us on our Facebook and our Instagram. And most importantly, catch me on turn 2. I have a deck profile for you today. A long-awaited deck profile of DDD Darkest Diablos. So, I played this. A little information about the deck at hand is... I played this when it first came out. My first variant of Darkest Diablos was DDDs, and it was very interesting. It was very powerful. It had a powerhouse kick to it. Tributing off my dark monsters, tributing off my opponent's monsters. It was very good at what it did for its time. I think now we have to move on a little bit and play more of a pure variant of either DDDs or Darkest Diablos. But that's up to the meta to see how the meta shapes out, to see how things go, and see how things play out. Because this deck can still destroy certain, like, I haven't tested it out against Sky Strikers, for instance, but it can destroy a lot of things, and it can get at a lot of decks, and it can really, destroy a lot of decks. So I haven't tested against Thunder Dragons. Against Danger, this deck is pretty funny. I would imagine against Thunder Dragons it'd be pretty funny. Like, the whole point of this deck is to kind of troll your opponent. And sorry, my voice is a little shot. But the whole point of the deck is to, like, trash on your opponent and really get under their skin and see how they do under pressure. So let's go ahead and get into the deck profile. We start off with the Lair of Darkness monsters, so we're playing 3 Lilith, and what Lilith does, for those who don't know, is you tribute a dark monster. She's at 2,000 beater, but she goes down to 1,000 when she's normal summoned. But you tribute a dark monster, including, you can tribute herself if you want, and then you reveal 3 normals traps, and it's a quick effect from your deck, and your opponent randomly chooses one and you set it on your field, and then you shuffle the rest back into your deck. She's very powerful, a very powerful card. In fact, I'd say she's probably one of the most important cards in this deck. I'll show you my trap choices, and we'll talk a little bit more about, like, the trap choices that you can play. But as of now, Lilith, I only want to resolve her. I'm playing 3 right now, but in my original build of this deck, I only played 2, and it's gonna go back to 3 and stay at 3 for a while. And even in the pure build, I only played 2 of her. The reason behind that was because I don't want to resolve her too many times, if that makes sense. How do I say it? She's got a really good effect, and that tribute effect is really, really powerful. But there are going to be times where it's going to be dead, where it's just you and your opponent's not doing anything. Because the way your opponent beats this deck, and I'll go ahead and say it right now, is your opponent doesn't do anything. Like, if your opponent, it's like playing a form of what are they called? Omegas, Psyframes. It's like playing a form of Psyframes where, like, if your opponent doesn't do anything, then you really can't play Yu-Gi-Oh with this deck. But there are ways around that, and there are cards around that we'll get to. But again, if your opponent isn't playing and they decide that they catch on to your game that you're playing with them, they'll go ahead and just kind of make you deck out. You'll either deck out, run out of traps, or you'll lose monsters to nothing, basically. So 3 Lilith as of right now, but again, I don't like resolving her too many times. A card that I do like resolving more often is Arima, the Wicked Warden. So he can he's a pretty good card. He's a 17 body, level 4 that can be tributed or tribute a dark monster. That's the kind of the theme of the deck for those who don't know. Tribute a dark monster who any dark monster really, and you get to draw a card. So I like doing that. I like normal summoning Arima and tributing him and then getting to draw a card. And there's added bonuses to tributing cards. Like, it's not like you're just tributing for nothing. Like, I'll explain that in a little bit for those who don't know about the Lair of Darkness deck, about how it works and about its boss monster, Darkest Diabolos. Also, you can pitch him, and when you pitch him from hand, you can add a copy of the Lair of Darkness. So that's your field spell. That's the card that makes all your plays work, and that's the card that kind of facilitates plays. So again, you know, Lilith is good and Arima is good, and both are very, very powerful. They're powerhouse cards. They really are. This deck is designed to only really make 3 big pushes. 3 big pushes with traps, and make the rest of your pushes with the DDD monsters. So there's that. I play 2 Armageddon Knights. This is for dumping your Darkest Diabolos, and also I play 1 Destrudo. So here's the Destrudo. Destrudo is just a cool little quick tribute that you can do, like if you have Lilith or whatever, or if you're playing a more pure variant, you can do Dark Strike Fighter, or Dark Street Fighter, I think his name is, where he tributes a dark monster, or tributes a monster, and you inflict damage to its level. So, with the Armageddon Knights, you want to dump anything. You can even dump DDD cards, you can dump your Darkest Diabolos, you can dump your Destrudo. There's a lot of things you can do, a lot of cool little interactions with Armageddon Knight. And I only play 2 Armageddon Knights right now. I'm thinking about playing a 3rd. If I were to play a 3rd, I would take out 1 copy of Darkest Diabolos. And this is the boss monster, Darkest Diabolos, who I wanted to get into, I wanted to explain a little bit about. When he's in grave or in hand, but he has to be in hand at the time of the tribute. When you tribute a dark monster, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from the graveyard or hand. So you can special summon it from the hand or graveyard when it's tribute summoned. When something is tributed, I'm sorry. And then he's also got another effect that I don't really use too often, but you can tribute 1 dark monster to place 1 card from your opponent's hand, either on the top or the bottom of their deck. Just very powerful disruption, very good disruption. The reason I would take 1 out though is because he's a brick in his own sense, that you don't want to draw him, and you're gonna draw him like in this deck, like playing the cards that you play. But with Armageddon Knight, you mitigate that cost of drawing him because you can just pitch him like outright. So playing 2 isn't the end of the world, but playing 1 isn't the end of the world either. With Armageddon Knight, it makes things a little bit easier so that you can pitch him off and then special summon him from grave when you activate. So all the cards have this little interaction with each other where if they tribute something, you get something in return. So it's not like you're tributing for cost for nothing, even if your opponent stops you. With Lilith's effect, you have to have 3 at least 3 traps, and I only play 6 traps in this deck, so that's why I said there's only 3 big pushes with traps. So it is what it is, but I want to see Diabolos. I want him in grave, and I want him to come out kicking, basically. Like I want to really stun my opponent with this deck, because this is a shock and lock deck, a shock, lock, and awe. So next up is the DDD monsters. So I mitigated the DDD monsters from what I originally played in my original version of the deck. So I play 2 of my DD Necro Slime, and I play 2 of my DD Swirl Slime. So these are your fusion cards. For those who don't know about DD monsters, you fusion summon with these, and pretty much you always want to fuse with these 2. Like, you always want these 2 in hand to fusion summon. You always want to fuse your Swirl Slime with your Necro Slime and get out a Genghis. And it's very easy to do. And then Swirl Slime has a neat little effect in Grave where you can banish him and then summon a DD monster from your hand, special summon it. And Necro Slime in Grave has an effect where you can banish it and you can fusion summon with it as material and DD monster in your Grave, and you get out the fusion monsters. So this deck is it's not a fusion deck per se, but it is a fusion heavy deck, and it does a lot. Like, the deck is doing a lot. And all that stuff that I was saying before about like 3 big pushes is for the Lair of Darkness part. Like, the Lair of Darkness is where the deck kind of plays into itself, where it gets the traps out. And if your opponent does start learning and does start learning about that they can just not play, and then you start to lose, that's where the DD monsters come in, and that's where the DD monsters start to, because they're going to start taking damage from each of your DD monsters that you have. Anyway, continuing on with the deck profile, I have 2 DD Lamias, and then I'm playing 2 DD Savant Kepler? Right, Kepler? Kepler, yeah. And the reason for that I'm playing the 2-2-2-2, 2-2-2-2, 4 2s, is because I want to try and cut down on DD monsters that I'll have, because I can search them out pretty easily. Kepler will get you into your Linkaribo plays, and then from there get you into your Wee Witch plays. Lamia will get you into all of your other plays, all of your synchro plays. She can pop a card on the field, pop a DD card on the field, and then summon herself, but then you have to banish her. But that's okay, because this deck special summons. It special summoned the movie, the game. Like, it special summons itself really easily. And then for the big boys, I play 3 Oblivion King Ragnarok. The reason for that is because of my viruses. I want to see him, and I want to see his special summon effect. He special summons when he's summoned, basically. Well, no. Let me start over. Guys. So when he's on the field, you can take half, do half damage to your opponent for the rest of the turn. And when a DD is normal summoned or special summoned, you can special summon a DD from Grave. When he's in your scale, let me see here. That's the effect. Okay, so the half damage is in scale. And then so they both have the same effect. I don't know what I'm getting at, or what I'm trying to confusing myself with. The scale effect and the summon effect of him being on field are both the same. They're special summon effects. When a DD monster is normal or special summoned, you can special summon another one. He also has a tribute effect where you can tribute 1 DD monster, which will still target off your Diabolos. So you tribute one of your DD monsters, and because you tributed a dark DD monster, you can banish a card on the field, and then you can special summon Diabolos. So that's a neat little interaction. And then they're both level 8s, so that you can play into your rank 8 potential. So now going on to the spells, I play 1 Foolish Burial, because you want to get a lot of cards into Grave. I play 1 Monster Reborn, because Monster Reborning Diabolos isn't the end of the world. Monster Reborning Ragnarok isn't the end of the world. It's pretty good, and then you can reborn your Genghis when you need to. I play 1 Soul Charge, because Soul Charge is game charge. I play 3 Dark Contract with the Gates. This searches out your entire DD lineup, and then you take 1,000 at the standby phase. So you can search any DD card, basically, in your deck. But I learned also it is a hard once per turn, so be careful if you draw multiples, but you want to see it in multiples. The next card that I play multiples of is the 3 Lair of Darkness. So the interesting thing about Lair of Darkness is that it turns all cards on the field into dark monsters and makes them dark monsters, so that everything that requires a dark tribute can be tributed. And it also allows you once per turn to tribute your opponent's monster. So you can tribute your opponent's monster, where instead of using your own monsters and losing out on a little bit of fun, you gain effects. So basically, oh, and then also, whichever side of the field the monster is tributed on, you get to special summon one token, one torment token with 1,000 attack, 1,000 defense, level 1. And you get to special summon as many as you tributed that turn, basically. So if you tribute like 4 monsters, for instance, you'll get 4 tokens, if that makes sense. Tribute 2 monsters, you'll get 2 tokens. But the Lair of Darkness is a powerful card. I'm playing 3 of it, but I want to play 2 of it and 1 terraforming, because you don't want to see this card in multiples, but at the same time you want to see it, so that's why it's played in 3s. And then finally, my last little bit of dark support is 3 Lair of Darknesses. So Lair of Darkness is my favorite card ever printed. I love it so much. And in this deck, banishing some of your cards, banishing your extra Liliths is not the end of the world, and banishing your extra Arimas is probably not the end of the world either. Banishing your Diabolos, that's a hefty cost. The only gripe I have with Diabolos is that he's a dragon and not a fiend, so there's a little bit of problems with that. But for the most part, he's pretty good. So now for my traps, my trap lineup, you could play whatever you want. You could play back to the front. There's a variant going around right now that's pretty popular that's playing the artifacts. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that once I get my artifact engine in. Once I get a more pure version in. But one card in particular that I cannot play without, that I absolutely need to have in this deck, is 3 Torrential Tributes. Because setting Torrential Tribute is just like the be-all, end-all. Like, your opponent has to either go off or not go off to get it off the field. And I say it like that, like, meaning that either they go off and do a big push and let you have what you want, or they don't go off and they do a little push and you attack them with your big DDD monsters. So I want to play 3 Torrential Tributes, but you can play whatever you want. You can play whatever traps you want, whatever 6 traps. Trap Tricks, the new card that just came out, that's a good card. It's underrated. Get them while you can. You can play the Mirror Forces. You can play one of each Mirror Force. I don't know if you would be interested in that. Or you can even play 3 Bottomless Trap Holes. You can play back to the front. You can play the Artifact Engine, like I was saying, and you can search Artifact Sanctum. And then finally, my last 3 traps are viruses, is the Eradicator, the Devastation, and then the Full Force. Pretty much you want Full Force to go off, but if Eradicator goes off, then you pretty much won the duel against Sky Strikers. Like, that's, like, just call spells and there's nothing they can do about it. And Devastation, I just play it because, honestly, because it's hollow and I didn't know what else to put in. Like, if I could make a change, I think I would play another Full Force virus, 2 Full Force viruses, and 1 Eradicator virus. But try the viruses out, tech them in, you know, try whatever you can. Go ahead and try that and see how it works out for you. So for my extra deck, it's going to be the same extra deck. If you saw my previous DDD video, it's pretty much going to be the same extra deck. There's really no change to it, because the whole extra deck premise is that you want to play DDDs. Like, you want this deck to be a extra deck centric DDD deck. So I'm playing 2 of the regular Genghis, the little Genghis. His effect is that he special summons a monster He special summons a DD monster when a DD monster is normal or special summoned. Then we play two of the big High Flame King Genghis, who does the exact same thing, but has a negate on his under his belt. So while you have him on field, you can negate your opponent's effects or cards, and you have a 28 body. And also he can be he's level 8, so he can go for your rank 8 pushes. I play one D-Arc, and D-Arc is level 7, and that's really important. Pretty much you only play D-Arc because of the level 7 going into your Synchro 8s, your level 8s. And then I play Beowulf. Beowulf's puncture effect, the piercing damage, is nothing to laugh at. It's very powerful, and most importantly of all, he's level 8. Like, I keep saying that, but like, trust me, like when I say that the level 8 thing is important, it's important. So then I play a level 7 in the form of DDD Gus King Alexander, who can special summon a level 4. The theme of DDD is to special summon the movie, the game. We have a Meteor Burst Dragon, who is for combo potential, to summon out your Ragnarok while it's in scale. We play one Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon for the what I call the ultimate combo. We have the Curse King Siegfried, who can negate a spell mid-activation, or a spell or a trap mid-activation before it resolves. For our rank 8s, I only play 2, but I know I keep saying like the rank 8 potential is there, because it is there, but these were really powerful rank 8s in Hope Harbinger. And then DDD Kali Yuga, who can Cold Wave the field. And then for my links, I only play 3. You could play whatever links, but for sure you need Wee Witch and you need Linkaribo for some combos. I chose to play Decode Talker, but you could play Boral Sword, you could play Saryuja. This deck pumps out Saryujas like crazy. You could play a Firewall Dragon, but I don't advise playing Firewall Dragon. It's not that strong right now, especially coming into the new format. I think you just have to play whatever you feel safe playing. Like, you could take out one Genghis and one High Flame King Genghis and play Wave King Oblivion, or you could play something else. You could play that FA card. I can't remember what its name is. You could play more rank 8s. You could play a rank 4 engine. There's a lot that you could do, especially with this deck. So anyway, get at your boy, like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you like the deck profile. This was a fan submission, basically, of a deck profile, and I hope it helped you out. I hope it's budget as hell. Like, really, all you need to do is I probably spent $20 on the whole deck, even the extra deck. Like, I spent like maybe $20. And then for the extra deck, I spent like $12. So, like, it's budget as hell. It's a really fun deck. It's a really powerful deck, too. As far as tournaments, I'd say take it to your locals. Try it out and screw with your opponents. Mess with them. But don't take it to a regionals. Don't expect to win at a regionals. The pure build of Darkest Diablos is probably a little bit better suited to win a regionals. But try out what you can, do what you can, and most importantly, catch me on turn 2.